welcome back to the Sugar Oven Studio. I'm Faisy the Baker, and in today's video, we are going to be making a moist and unique passion fruit chocolate cake. This is so delicious and it has these tropical flavors bursting in your mouth. So let's get started. You're gonna go ahead and grease a 6-inch pan because we're making a 6-inch version of this cake, and preheat your oven to 350 degrees Fahrenheit. Also make sure to just try and grease the bottom of your pan and not the sides. When you grease the sides, it kind of makes your cake shape more into a dome than flat. And don't worry about it sticking, because when it's out of the oven, we'll take a knife and circle it around the edges so that nothing sticks. In a large bowl, you'll whisk together 1 cup of all-purpose flour, half a cup of cocoa powder, 3/4 cups of sugar, half a teaspoon of baking soda, and 1/4 teaspoon of salt. Then you'll just give those a whisk. In a separate bowl, you'll add half a cup of milk, 1/4 cup of melted butter, 1 large egg, and half a teaspoon of vanilla extract. And then you'll give those a quick whisk until they're soft, smooth, and silky. When your wet and dry ingredients are combined, you'll add the wet ingredients into the dry ingredients, and you'll just fold that in a little bit. It won't be a batter really, it'll be really thick, but don't worry, we're not done yet. My wet and dry ingredients are pretty much folded together as much as can be, so we're ready to move on. Then you'll boil half a cup of water and add it into your mixture, and fold that in as well. The water is now well mixed into my batter and everything's nice and incorporated, so we're ready to move on. Then from there, you'll take your batter and you'll pour it into your 6-inch pan. Once your batter is in your cake, you'll go ahead and bake it until a toothpick or sharp knife inserted comes out clean. It's been about 60 minutes, and when I check my cake by inserting a sharp knife into the center, it comes out clean with a few moist crumbs, so it's ready to be taken out. Now yours will take more or less time depending on your oven. Once your cake is out of your oven, you'll let it cool completely in the pan. And while it's doing that, we can go ahead and get started on our delicious, tropical, and flavorful passion fruit whipped cream. You'll start out in a large bowl with 1 cup of heavy cream and about 2 spoonfuls of powdered sugar. And you'll beat this with an electric beater or a stand mixer until soft peaks form. Once your heavy cream and powdered sugar are whipped until soft peaks form, we're ready to move on to the next step. You'll then add 3 tablespoons of passion fruit pulp. And I know this sounds kind of like an exotic ingredient, but trust me, it's worth that trip out to the supermarket to get it. This cake is just that good. And once that's in, you'll just keep whipping until you have stiff peaks. I'm just gonna give it 1 more spoonful of powdered sugar just for even more extra sweetness. This is totally optional. If you want more of a tangy whipped cream, put less. If you want a more sweet whipped cream, put more. Here we go. I have stiff peaks. This is exactly what I want. So our passion fruit whipped cream is done. Once your passion fruit whipped cream is done, we'll go ahead and get started on a rich chocolate ganache, which we'll use to pour over the cake. So for the chocolate ganache, I have here 510 grams of chopped chocolate, or 18 ounces, and 9 ounces of heavy cream, which has been on a simmer over the stove. So I'm gonna pour this into my chocolate, and I'll let it sit for about 2 minutes. Then we'll mix them up until they're all melted and combined. My chocolate and milk have been sitting now for about 2 minutes, so I'm just going to fold them together until the chocolate melts into the heavy cream. And after a while, if there's still some unmelted bits, you can just put it in the microwave in 10-second bursts until it's all smooth and silky. My chocolate and my heavy cream are now all combined. It's all smooth and silky. And just to give it an extra shine, I'm adding 1.5 tablespoons of melted butter. And this part is optional, just makes your ganache even more shiny on the outside. When your butter is mixed into your ganache, you'll just let it sit to the side while we continue on finishing our cake. Now we're going to cut off this little dome on top so we just have a flat and smooth cake. When the dome on your cake is cut off, you can choose how you want to cut it. You can either cut it into 2 layers or 3 layers. For this cake, I'm going to go ahead and cut it into 3 layers. When your layers are cut out, you'll let them cool again for another 10 minutes so that when we put the whipped cream on, it won't melt. Once your cakes are cooled, you'll go ahead and fill a pastry bag with a pastry tip with your passion fruit whipped cream. I'm just gonna put some of my passion fruit whipped cream by squeezing my piping bag, and then I'll place a layer of my cake. I'm just taking my chocolate ganache and piping it onto my cake, and then we'll smooth it out. I'm right now just taking my spatula and smoothing it all out. I know it looks like a crazy chocolatey mess right now, but don't worry, it'll turn out beautiful and perfect at the end. With a paintbrush, I'm just adding little droplets of passion fruit pulp. Just gives it a little more decoration. So here it is, the final product of our chocolate passion fruit cake. Thank you so much for watching, and if you have any questions at all, leave a comment. Also, make sure to subscribe, give a thumbs up, and I'll see you later in the Sugar Oven Studio. Bye!